Hello, this is Black Country Blokes chewing the fat.
Listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen.
Having your gang. This is Black Country Blokes chewing the fat for me, Kev Dillon, Lee Cadman, and Craig Pinches. Now, there's a slight change to the plan today. We're supposed to be having Dan Browning coming on, but for private reasons, he can't come on. So, sending all my love to you, Dan. Now, if anyone would like to listen to Dan Browning, he come on the show previously in the year, so you can find his episode on YouTube. But he gave me a phone number for Stuart Bratt, who is the founder of Tough Enough to Care. So, thank you, Stu, for coming on.
No problem. How are you guys?
We're all good, thank you. Now, it started in 2019 in the March. Would you like to tell people a bit about what you do?
I think Dan went over the bare bones of sort of why we started and stuff like that, but just to briefly recap, it came about from losing two friends to suicide within 4 days of each other, and we decided something needed to be done. So started a bit of a Facebook page, and then that rolled into us doing campaigns with beer mats out to the pubs, of which, oh look, there's one I made earlier. One of those with positive messages on and things like that. There you go. And let's say campaigns like that, and then we've started doing our own support groups online at the minute and face-to-face when lockdown restrictions allow. And it's just that the whole movement, campaign, now registered charity, the whole idea of it is just to break down the stigma that surrounds male mental health as a topic and a subject, just to provide the positivity and a safe place for blokes to talk. Because I know you meant when you were talking to Dan and a lot of your podcasts, the guys that you have on, it seems to be that blokes will talk, but they don't really talk about anything in particular. And they're always kind of skirting around the issue, and it's just to say hard facts and just go, right, if you're struggling, just talk to me, pick up the phone, let's go for a coffee, let's do it.
Well, when I went on my mental health awareness course, it amazed me 75% of suicide is just blokes. Because I know women's are on the uprise all of a sudden, but as you said, women will talk about everything and anything. Blokes, you're right, Stu. I'm all right. We're inside. He's dying inside because he's got that stigma. Is that the word? Where if I tell you I'm hurting, I go home and I have a belly full. It's that man up, build a bridge and get over it, princess. Whereas really, all we need is to be heard, not for you to give the answer, but for you to listen.
That's it. I mean, we say to everybody, we're not professionals. I am just your everyday bloke, and I'm from a rugby background from, I think, the day I was born. Before I went home, I was took to the rugby club and had me dummy dipped in some whiskey or something. I've grown up down a rugby club. I've been in the forces. Since I've left the forces, I've been in male-dominated environments, construction industries, working in sort of like the food manufacturing industries on the technical side. It's always engineered, it's blokes. And again, the places that you can't go to work or to rugby or the gym and say, I'm struggling. But you look at the numbers, blokes need it more than anybody at the minute. And it's certainly changed. Since doing this, it's changed my life. Because I decided that something had to be done for other people. And then I've realised, fucking hell, actually, talking about it's helped me, and I didn't even think I had a problem.
Well, we've talked about on this show, because I can get to very dark places and I'll go somewhere and then I'll have a phone call saying, Kev, look, my missus left me, and I can snap out my own problem to help them. But don't get me wrong, as soon as I put the phone down, I'm back in it.
Yeah. But it's nice to have that escape for 5 minutes as well, though, isn't it?
Well, that's why this podcast has done me the world of good. You know, just to, no matter what my day is like, I can switch off from Kev and just become the Black Country Blokes.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's exactly what I do. Since all this has happened, I've been furloughed, and I've gone. I'm sure this will be the same for a lot of blokes out there. I've gone from a breadwinner, I'm going out doing the blokey thing. I'm out at 5:30 in the morning, back sweaty, greasy, dirty from a day's graft, go down the pub on a Friday. And all of a sudden, my life stresses have completely changed. I've been furloughed. The missus is still working from home. So I'm full-time caretaker, housekeeper, chef and homeschooler. And don't get me wrong, everybody thinks, oh, I'd love to spend all day at home with the kids. It affects you differently mentally. And the biggest pressure we're also facing, as tough enough, is our bread and butter is coming to guys like you and having a sit down, a chat, a cup of tea, doing our support groups, having guys sat round, having a brew and having a chat, going to do workplace drop-in sessions and all that good behaviour. And it's just it's a different kettle of fish when you're trying to do it on a video chat. We've tried it a few times now, and it's like you said at the start, it's not the same as being in a room with a bloke, is it? So it's all the stress, and it adds to my stress that I can't get out there to help as many people.
And when you've come so far, it's hard then, isn't it? Because I know a lot of my close personal friends have got mental health, and they say, like, when they've got to have a meeting with Mind or the mental health industry, they'll have a phone call and they say, but Kev, the only person I could talk to on the phone is you, because I get so anxious. And because of the virus is going on, they haven't been able to go to an office, or they haven't been able to, because so I've stopped phoning. And if they're not phoning, they've got all these problems, or they're taking their medication.
It's the other thing as well, isn't it? Everyone says it's and it's true, taking the first step is the bravest and best step you'll ever make, to seek help and reach out. And again, you don't want to phone and just be another voice at the end of the phone. You want to go, and if you've got the balls to do it, finally plucked up the courage to do it, and go to see your GP. You don't want to go and see the GP, do you? You don't want to go into the doctors. You don't want to, again, make appointments with people. So the worry there is that guys that really need the help aren't getting it as well.
But if it's taking all that courage to knock on the door and then no one answers, eventually you stop knocking, don't you?
Exactly, yeah.
I think the proof is in the pudding as well, isn't it? We had Marcus on, who runs the Black Country in Walsall Mental Health, and he was saying he's experienced a massive drop-off in referrals and everything, because everyone's just in that fear of not contacting the NHS for any reason whatsoever. So, the proof's there that people are not contacting like they used to. Maybe it is just because they know they won't get face-to-face appointment. Maybe it is they just don't want to take any resources up at the moment.
I think it's a whole myriad of things, isn't it? It's not wanting to take up the resources. I certainly wouldn't. If I was injured or ill or something, I'd really sort of push it to my limit before I actually went to the doctors or the hospital now. Whereas before, you might go a little bit sooner for anything. And we thought as soon as lockdown came in, we'd see a massive upsurge in people contacting us for help and stuff like that. It's almost like everyone just went underground. There was the fear of God was put into them, and anyone that was already struggling with anxiety, you watch the news every day, fucking hell, ain't going to make it better, is it?
What do you find, in my experience, the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I phoned up everyone on my phone. How are you? How are you? And then after, like, the last couple of weeks, I phoned the same 5 or 6 people, because sometimes you phone someone and go, "How am you, Kev? I'm bloody terrible." They go, "Oh, all right then." And then because you're a bit fragile, it's hard to carry it.
Yeah.
And I think some of these people, like, you phone up once again, "How are you, Kev? I'm all right. I promise you I'm all right." But you can't, because we're not face to face, you go, "You just don't look yourself, bruv. Are you sure you're okay?"
That's it. If you are just on the end of the phone, you can see into someone's eyes, can't you, whether you need to ask that second question, are you really all right?
And what you said earlier, I think, was bang on, because so many people I identify with, like, you're the breadwinner, you're the man, you're the brickie, you're the boxing coach, whatever. And when that's taken away, it's like someone's taken away your identity. It's, I'm now, and there's nothing wrong with this, full-time daddy, full-time mummy. But when it's thrust upon you and there's no fault of your own, and normally when we get stressed, my little girl, your little girl, whatever, You can go down the booze, you can go to the gym, you can go somewhere. But when you're put in that house or that flat or wherever it is, and there's no escape, the littlest things can get under your skin.
Yeah, it's cabin fever as well, isn't it? At the minute, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So for me, I love going for a beer on a weekend. I live for Saturdays down the rugby club and stuff like that. If I'm having a shit day on a Monday, Tuesday, every day is just one step closer to even just having a day off from everything and going out, taking the kids over the park or something with no repercussions. Like we were talking before we come on, everyone's watching your every move now, aren't they? And what's he doing out? I bet they're not from the same family and blah, blah, blah. There doesn't seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel. So there's no process to sort of work towards, It's just an ongoing process. And when's it going to end?
Well, I think that's it. Like, if you're doing a sentence and they go, well, on July 1st, you're free. But I can't see there being a VE day of this where you go, on this day, we're going to have street parties and this will always be remembered. I think it'll be a gradual thing. It's like, I think what they've done is like, you have a driving limit, speed limit, 70 miles an hour. When you're on the motorway, you go 90 miles an hour. They give you a line knowing you're going to push the line a little bit further. And I think that's what they're doing on purpose. They're giving us something knowing we can only go and see your mom or your dad, but they live in the same house, so you go and see your mom and your dad. And I think they're doing that because they don't want to say, all right, then you go and see your family, because then you have your cousins, your aunties and uncles, and you're having a big barbecue. Or Auntie Pam, she's not my real auntie, but I call her an auntie, so we'll go and see her as well. So I think they've given us just enough so we'll go that little bit further. Beg your pardon, sorry.
Everyone's trying to find loopholes, aren't they? Every time they release one part of the lockdown or whatever, it's because my brother's auntie's budgie wore socks on a Tuesday, I can do that, so I'll be fine.
Yeah. And it is. But I mean, I think this is why your groups are so important, but I think we've got to try and keep them going, because when we get back to the new normal, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg with mental health, because the people who've been furloughed and have been on 80% of the wage, and then they go back, or the people who've been furloughed that long and then they haven't got a job, or someone who's had so many credit cards and he's got himself into that much debt, then it's, well, what do I do now?
Yeah, I did I did a radio interview the other day for BBC Hereford and Worcester, and they said to me then, how do you think this is going to affect like the whole COVID and everything? How's it going to affect everybody in the long run? And I said to him, you've seen nothing yet. It's not going to affect everybody, but the people that it does affect, it's going to be like combat PTSD. It could be 3, 4, 5 years down the line when the key workers, the doctors, the nurses, the paramedics, and people like the carers finally get a chance to stop, take a breather, and take stock of what's just happened. And all of a sudden, I think there's going to be a huge spike in mental health support needed. And I just hope that the government seem to be helping everybody out at the minute. If you're self-employed, there's a scheme for most of you if you qualify. The furlough scheme, it's never been seen before, and all that sort of support that's there. I just really hope that they've got a provision in mind for a 5-10 year plan for mental health support across every network in the country, whether you're a key worker or not, whether you sat around in your pants for 3 months doing nothing whilst this was going. It's going to affect people in different ways, and it's just hopefully they'll be there ready to react. Is that a volunteer for sitting in his pants?
But the thing is, like, I know we're just about to throw the teachers under the bus, but with our pupils. But as you said, like the key workers, but then we've got like the binmen, the people who work in the supermarkets. But then, as you said, the people who are sitting at home, the nannies, the granddads, who are thinking, well, I can't go and see. The only thing gives me light in my life. And, when you're lonely, it's such a horrible thing. And I think how lucky I am now. I've got my wife, my daughter in the house. But if this had been me 10 years ago, in my one-bedroom council flat, oh, God, I dread to think what it would have been like.
I say it's going to, like I said, it's going to affect different people in different ways. But like we were talking about before we came on. People are getting scrutinised for going out to the shops, for doing this, for doing that, for whatever their reasons are. When we come out the end of this, I really hope there's not an attitude of, well, why are you struggling from this? Because I've been out working every day and doing this, doing that. You've just been sitting around doing nothing.
And sometimes it's better for some people. It's better to have to go to work because they're escaping their own head, or they're escaping a not a very nice household.
That's the other thing. You look at the stats on that. There's been massive increases in domestic abuse, and that's the one thing I will say. I'm happy about some of the schools going back. If there's a chance that if kids are in an abusive household or something like that, it gets them out of there. But for me, and my opinion, and not from Tough Enough, this is my personal opinion. Unless there's a serious reason for your kids to need to go back to school, keep them at home.
Well, we discussed that, and this is once again, this is my opinion. You know what I mean? Me and my wife's. But like my daughter could go back next week, and we have chose, me and my wife decided not to send her back. She's in reception. She's one of the very youngest in reception. And I thought, for the sake of what I can teach her, little bits of maths, bit of English, lots of playing with daddy and mommy, because we'll never get this time back, hopefully. And I thought, why do I want to jeopardise potentially her health and the teacher's health? And I'd rather wait until September. Hopefully things have been put in place. People know to react more, because at her age, how can you say, Kev, don't go play with Lee, don't go play with Craig, don't go play with Stu. And they're children, all they want to do is engage.
Yeah. You see, I don't know how true it is, but you see some of these photos coming from France and Spain, and the kids are put in 2-metre boxes in the playground, and they can't leave the box. And it's like torture. It's like sticking a point 2 metres away from me and saying, right, you can look at it, but you can't touch it.
And what would you do? You'd go and have whenever the teacher's not looking, you go and have a quick sip.
Yeah.
Go, well, me, it was him.
Oh, look, coronavirus is over there. Bosh, gone.
Craig, have you got any questions for Stu?
No, I was just thinking back to like in regards to the restrictions imposed and how very inefficient they are anyway at face value, and how very, like you say, you can take the kids to school, but you can only do reception and year 1 and year 6. And I understand it's to keep traffic down and it's to keep, the groups of people down. But if you've got 3 children or 2 children from separate homes that I'm doing separate things, that's already an equation that shouldn't be happening during a restrictive process. So it makes no difference if you've got 50 children in there. And I understand that people are going to say yes, but the ratio, probabilities and possibilities, it's more probable it's going to happen. But it's possible to happen with 2 children from the separate things. So what's any different to me? Like you said before, if we're all isolating, so I've been isolating, what's different me going to my mum and dad's who's been isolating? And I think people need directives. They need to be, this is the rules. You don't step outside of this, because umming and ahhing about, oh, if you need to, then do, and if you don't, people will draw their own conclusion on what they need in life and what they don't need.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think because the line's been so murky, I think it's brilliant the school's been open for the key workers and domestic abuse and whatever. But I feel like it is just a massive ploy to get everything running again. And I think I would rather sacrifice my good eye or me cock and balls than my daughter. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
If you look at my 2 kids, I definitely don't need my cock and balls anymore, because I don't have any more.
Ever since that Jasmine, I've slept in the airing cupboard.
I heard someone say the other day, and it really hit home to me, and they just said, my kids aren't guinea pigs.
Yep.
And I thought, that's the long and short of it. Yeah, they're trying to get things going again. They're trying to open things up. But at 6 years old, there ain't going to be much more he can learn at school than at home. And the biggest problem we'd have is I'm still furloughed, but if we sent the eldest to school, it's not fair to leave the youngest at home because the eldest sees the youngest at home being able to play all day, but the youngest will miss his brother. So we'd then be toying with the idea of sending him to nursery, but that's £600-700 a month. That at the minute I'm furloughed on 80% of my basic, not my overtime and bonus. So I'm without paying the childcare, we're sort of even keel at the minute. But if we were to put him back in nursery, that's me financially screwed for the next 2-3 months. So there's for me, it's a no-brainer. He ain't going back because if they can't both go back safely, like you said, I'd give anything to keep my kids safe. And if it means a few more grey hairs and stress at home, I'll take it.
Nothing's been, we all speculate, don't we, on this and the other, and everything's speculative. It's caught everyone off guard. But in regards to the government and not having any plans together, I believe they should have had some kind of contingency in place for a pandemic, regardless of what the pandemic is. There should have been, there's some kind of enter and exit strategy, in case of a pandemic. And it seems like there's none. And like you say, everyone's relying on guidance because a lot of people need guidance. So what do you do for the best? And as you say, because you're furloughed, you've got no overtime rate, no nothing. You've probably, you've still got to pay your bills out of that, but you're 20% down. And it's a tough one. So, is there an exit strategy? Because I don't. If I'm honest, I stopped following it all.
I've done the same.
A load of bull to me.
I probably stopped watching the evening briefs about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's just negative news after negative news, isn't it? And like we said before, there's no set end date or end goal to it. So it's almost like there's always a carrot dangling. They've got these phases set out, but all it takes is one little spike. You look at the pictures from the beaches this weekend.
Yeah.
If that causes a spike in the next 2 weeks, we're all back to phase 1 again. So there's no point thinking, we might be able to go on holiday in September. If everyone keeps doing it, you could be like this till December. You could be like this time next year, couldn't you?
I think it's hard enough to get someone to stay in once, but then say, all right, then you've done your 10 weeks. Now you're allowed back out. You're allowed to make a bit of crust, and then go, oh no, you got to go back in. Now that's when it's going to be tough. When you've got to get someone to go back in for another couple of months.
That's it. I've got to say, for all my opinions and stuff like that, I think on the whole, I'm not political, but I think they've done a pretty bang-up job. There's always going to be people that fall through the cracks of any plan. There are people that are going to be hit a lot harder than others, and for them, I am truly sorry for them. But I think in terms of something that has just crept up on them and just gone, in Bosher, we're here, I think they've done pretty well as a knee-jerk reaction to try and help people.
Could I just come back to something that Craig said, because it just popped into my head? I talked to one of my friends who's a headmaster, and we were saying, if we're lucky, not if we're lucky, at the moment we could get reception year 1. We could get 3 years in, but only those 3 years at safe distancing. So they couldn't have, how many, 30 in a class? And then there's I don't know, let's say 500 kids in a school. But when I remember school, I remember us all being, I'm sat here, he sat there. So how could they spread the children out for a whole year, for a whole school, sorry? It's impossible.
I can't see them having that many people go back, if I'm honest. Everyone I've spoken to personally have all agreed with me, well, not agreed with me, but sort of had the same kind of idea and just said, well, if I'm stuck at home, if I'm furloughed or if I'm working from home, what's the point in sending them?
Yeah. And as much as they can do you ready, at the same time, they keep you sane, don't they? Because you've got to be strong for your children.
Well, that's it. I actually said to my missus, you've hit the nail on the head there. Said to my missus at the weekend, they were running around doing my tits in. But I just said, if the kids weren't at home, if they were still at school and I was furloughed, I'd be a mess. I'd just be sat on the sofa every day, and then you just got no drive. You've got no get up and go. Whereas now, I know that in the morning I've got to be up and have the kids ready, dressed for school, before the missus starts work upstairs, so I can get them downstairs. And it's that tiny little schedules and a timetable and stuff. And that's what we say to people that contact us that are struggling with sort of depression and anxiety. If they can't leave the house and stuff, it's just have a little schedule. Just have a couple of things a day, just mini goals, just to keep you ticking over, so you don't just sit there and do nothing all day. And then at the end of the day, you look back and go, oh, there's another day wasted. I haven't done anything. It just compounds the depression of, the feelings of depression. You're a failure and things like this. When you get to the end of a day and think, oh, I've not achieved anything, it's not good for you.
I was going to say, is that something that for you too, like, so as people can take something away from this? Because I know Aaron, who, like, he's not on, he usually likes people to take something tangible away from our speaks. So what, if you were to offer advice, obviously, to set yourself little routines and plans, is there anything else that you'd advise for people to get over this or get through this, per se?
I'm actually really glad you asked me that. There's a video I saw. The video's years old, but I got shown it about 3 or 4 months ago, and I've revisited it in the last couple of weeks, and I've actually sent it to a few people and said, look, if you're struggling, just watch this, and you'll laugh, but the basis of it is, and I got it earlier. It's by William McRaven. He's an ex-US Navy SEAL captain, and he was doing one of these commencement speeches. I think it was the University of Texas, where they have them all. You find tons of them on YouTube, like Jim Carrey and people. And that.
Yeah, I've seen it. And he's wearing white, is he? White hat.
That's the badger, yeah. The entire speech is about 40 minutes long, but there's one, it's like a 6-minute segment you can find. If you just type in making your bed speech, US Navy SEAL on YouTube, you'll find it straight away. But the one bit of his speech is, if you make your bed every morning, you'll have accomplished the first task of the day. It'll give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task and another and another. By the end of the day, that one small task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you'll still go out to a bed that you made, and a made bed gives you an encouragement that tomorrow will be better. And it's such a simple theory, but it's sad now. I get goosebumps reading it. It's just one of those ideas that you think start off with tiny little victories, and they'll grow. And then the next day, make your bed and make yourself some breakfast.
It's sort of like, when you say that, I just imagine like Triple P, like positive pre-programming. It's kind of like that. Like you say, making the bed. I'll make the bed on the morning. Sometimes. I don't know if you guys heard that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll make the bed on the morning and open the curtains and the blinds. And like you say, even if I wanted to leave it now, I can't, because I'm in the habit now of making it. If I'm the last out of the bed, if my partner is, she makes it. But like you say, there is like a little sense of pride in. And at the end of the day, even if you have a shit day, you're going to go in a nice cozy bed that's already made up. So
that's the
that's
part
good
about
advice.
The speech and the quote that I love the most. It's okay, yeah, it might seem like nothing in the morning to you, but if you wake up positively, make the bed, and from that moment on, your day goes south and everything just turns to rat shit. At the end of the day, you're not coming home to a mess. You're coming home to a freshly made bed, and you can start again. You can reset the clock and go again tomorrow.
I've just added the YouTube link in the banner below, so if anyone does want to go and have a look at that video that Stu's on about, there it is, and I'll also add it to the write up at the end in the description.
I tell you what, he's good, isn't he?
Oh well.
For a charity called Tough Enough to Care, or
that's it. I'm the voice. He's the brains, and Craig's the eye candy.
I'm good. No, because I feel like I'm conning the people out of the time and effort now. I could be the joke. Not the joker, the joke. I'll be the joke.
Have we had any comments, lads?
We have. I did put it up on screen. It's about Stu's hair, to be quite honest. So I'll put it back up there now for everyone to read again.
But
And
on
it's from-
about, oh sorry, carry on.
Oh no, it's from Tough Enough to Care, and it's saying, "Hi gents, sorry I couldn't come, but Stu wanted to show off his big hair."
It's funny Dan's managed to comment as Tough Enough to Care and not himself again. He usually does that on the. I'll get a like through on my phone. Why someone likes my comment? And Dan will have put a comment on, "Oh, I'll buy that, please," on a sales and wants page, but he's done it as Tough Enough to Care.
But on about hairdos and all this, I mean, look at me. I look like bloody Captain Caveman. I've got curly hair, no shave. And I think, I'm in isolation. Yeah, I'm doing my videos every day and everything. But who really gives a kipper's dick, on how we look? And like my friend who's a barber, and he's saying, people are phoning him up saying, can you come to my house and cut my hair I'll give you 80 quid. And I'm thinking, is vanity worth endangering your family or his family? And I think, who cares now? We should be at that stage. I'm surprised they haven't, you do Movember. I'm surprised they haven't done like a lockdown beard or something like that. And everyone who gets a beard has to donate a fiver to a mental health or Tough Enough to Care.
So I want to set up like a bit of a fundraiser, a bit of a party.
I'll be honest, like.
Go on, Craig.
Go on, Stu. You're the guest, mate.
Sorry, mate. There's a bloody delay in this thing, isn't there? Yeah, you carry on, mate.
I want to do like an after lockdown rockdown, a party where everyone goes out to the pub or wherever before they go to the barber, before they go and get the Botox top up, the fake tans, the waxing strips and everything. Just turn up in what you've worn every day for the last 3 months, which for me is flip-flops, cargo shorts and a Tough Enough to Care t-shirt. And all just rock up and just see how everyone's spent the last 3 months.
Because it's vanity, and it's especially with Instagram, FaceAche, and all these things. But I say to people, like people say, "Oh, for God's sake, Kim, go and have an haircut or shave your beard off." I'll give my wife enough reasons to divorce me. I think having a bit of a long hair and a beard ain't going to push her over the edge.
Can I ask you, Stu? At the moment, I feel like your group could probably go ahead with everything else that's going on because, we're seeing people going out to offices and doing all that. So with a group like yours, you could quite easily keep 2 people 2 meters apart and keep the group going. It's considering people are going out to work all the time and being in that, it's going to, and you're doing something that's going to help people. So how do you feel about that?
I've been torn since day one. We were going to offer our services to go and do like drop-in sessions for NHS staff and things like that. And then we shit-canned that idea because we're told to sort of stay at home and isolate and keep everybody else safe. And then us rocking up there kind of has a negative effect on it all. And not to not to sort of pinpoint any certain people that come to our groups or anything like that, but you might have guys that have got severe anxiety, and to put a group, it's hard to explain. I wouldn't want to put a group on that might be, if we find a loophole of a way of doing it, but for someone to really want to come but not be able to come, if that makes sense. And it's a fine line. I wouldn't want to be seen to go against any government guidelines, and I don't really want to give the critics a chance to kind of hammer us and shine a bad light on something positive that we're doing. Like I said, we have toyed with the ideas. We've set up. We did our first one last night, an online support group, and we had a few guys tune in, and it was a success. It was a bit strange, hard because again, it wasn't face to face, and you don't know who's listening in the background of anyone else's call. But yeah, to go back to your question, I would like to, and if I could find a way that would ensure everybody's safety, I'd do it tomorrow. I would set up a meeting, and anyone would, as always, anybody's welcome. It's free of charge. But I just think at the moment there's so much uncertainty. I wouldn't want to think I'm doing something right and end up putting somebody in danger, if that makes any sense at all.
It does. I think it's you've got to follow government guidelines. I think I was asking more of a general, if we can send people into offices doing that, why can't we send people to somewhere that's going to help? But it is.
If the government said tomorrow we could do it, we'd do it.
Yeah, because you could do it. I mean, I've not been to one of your groups, but I feel you could actually. Most people there, if you said, "Look, you sit on that chair there, and you sit on that one there that's 2 meters apart," they're gonna abide by that. It's quite easy to do in that sense, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we've pre-ordered. In fact, they should be here this week or the start of next. 100 face masks, some tough enough to care fabric face masks. So as soon as we get the green light, because I noticed today, I think Australia have gone on to phase 2. I think it was Australia. And they're now allowing social gatherings outside of 20 people. So if we could find a quiet private park or something, we could do it. And then if we have the face masks there for the guys as an added extra bit of protection, again, we would do it. We'd be there tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's good to hear. Hopefully, up and running soon.
Hopefully, like I say, we're gonna push the online support groups, but it's the face-to-face ones where you really sort of feel like you're making a difference, and going into the workplaces and talking to people, educating as well as supporting.
Yeah.
Well, mate, we're going to finish in a bit, but where's the best ways that people can find you in your group?
Best one is Facebook. Just type in Tough Enough to Care. You'll find our page there. We've also got Tough Enough to Care Hub, which is a bit of an online sort of peer-to-peer network. On the page and the hub, you've got members from all over the world. So if you post on there that you're struggling and need to talk, if one of the team members don't pick up a comment, there's someone watching the page 24/7 around the globe, and we've actually got counsellors and stuff like that who can offer their own support and advice on there. Nothing to do with us; they just follow the page and they help people. We've got a website on crap with technology, so it's not updated very often. But the most up to date places would be Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Well, brilliant, mate. But in a bit, I'm just going to tell everyone who's coming on Thursday. On Thursday, we've got my dad, Bob Dylan, who's a GB boxing coach, coming on. But on Thursday, he's not going to be talking about boxing as he has before, and he's had 2 episodes. He's going to be talking about his own anxieties. And when I lost my vision at 3 years old through viral meningitis, how that affected him. And when his mom died of cancer and his dad had Parkinson's disease. So we're going to be talking about what's actually behind the mask of Bob Dylan, in your face, bravest man in the room. And we're going to be talking about some of the things he's come through. So before we leave, Stu, have you got any quotes or sayings that's helped you get through?
You preempted me on this one, so I'm going to pull it up. This is actually, on Facebook, on the Facebook page, we post sort of positivity and self-help and stuff like that every day. And this is something I posted the other day, and it sort of hit home to me. Be somebody who makes everybody feel like a somebody. So whatever you do in the day, just do something nice. And you don't know, it's the old butterfly effect. You do that one tiny little gesture of dropping a text to somebody or smiling at someone in the street, and you don't know the positive effect that could have on their day.
Well, once again, bruv, well done, and for all the brilliant things you're doing. So we'll see everyone on Thursday, hopefully. So take care of yourselves and each other.
See you later.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time,